In the beginning there was silence, not the peaceful silence of dawn, but the suffocating quiet that precedes collapse. A silence that trembles, that shivers with the weight of everything humanity wishes to forget. And from this silence a voice emerged, fragile, bitter, lucid like a blade drawn across the mind. The voice of Emil Cioran. He did not speak to inspire, nor to soothe the restless heart. He spoke to disturb it, to awaken the dark pulse beneath our illusions, to remind us that despair is not an enemy, but an old companion we pretend not to recognize. Cioran wandered through nights that never ended, collecting fragments of insomnia, gathering the ashes of exhausted thoughts. He wrote as one who has survived his own extinction. Every sentence vibrated with a truth too sharp to touch, yet impossible to ignore. He believed that to exist is to bleed slowly, to age toward nothingness, to carry the unbearable knowledge that life is an accident without meaning, yet still we cling to it, fearing the abyss more than our own suffering. In this story, we follow that voice, a voice that whispers from the edge, that questions everything sacred, that invites us to walk through the ruins of certainty, not to lose hope, but to understand the anatomy of despair, not to surrender, but to see what remains when all illusions burn away. This is not a journey of heroes, nor of salvation. It is a pilgrimage through the shadows of the self, guided by a philosopher who believed that the greatest freedom is accepting the futility of everything. Welcome to the world of Emil Cioran, a world where every thought bruises, every revelation corrodes, and yet somehow the darkness becomes strangely beautiful. Let us begin. He begins with a confession that certainty is a luxury reserved for those who have never questioned themselves deeply, and Emil Cioran questioned himself until the echo broke. The night is his homeland, silence his only honest companion. Every thought he touches decays into dust, and yet he keeps touching, keeps probing, keeps staring open the raw tissue of existence. In all his reflections, one truth persists: the world becomes unbearable the moment we stop lying to ourselves. He doesn't speak with hope. Hope to him is a fever, a delirium that blinds the restless. So he strips it away, layer by layer, until nothing remains but the cold skeleton of reality. You are not seeking answers, he whispers from the margins of his own despair. You are seeking the courage to endure the absence of them. The darkness he carries is not the darkness of evil, but the darkness of lucidity. A clarity so sharp it wounds the one who sees. He observes the world as though it is a long fading dream, and every human being a sleepwalker, moving out of habit, pretending that each step has meaning. But meaning is a myth dressed in comforting language, and Cioran does not comfort. He dismantles, he unthreads, he exposes. He believes that once the illusions fall, what remains is not despair but a strange liberation. A freedom born from admitting our insignificance. In this scene, he stands alone in a dimly lit room, his silhouette bent over scattered papers, each one a fragment of torment and revelation. He writes slowly, as though every sentence is extracted from a wound. He writes because the alternative is to drown in unspoken thought. His pen trembles, not from fear but from the weight of being conscious. Life, he says, is a tragedy to those who feel and a farce to those who observe. I have tried both, and in his voice there is no desire for redemption, only the fierce, unapologetic need to confront reality as it is, a reality without promises, a reality without rescue, a reality unveiled. This is the beginning of his descent, or perhaps the beginning of his clarity. Night settles over the city like a parasite, not a quiet blanket but a living, breathing organism that clings to the walls, to the windows, to the bones beneath Siren's skin. He walks aimlessly, as if the pavement itself were dissolving beneath every step. Every street lamp flickers with the same exhaustion he carries in his eyes. Every shadow leans toward him as if recognizing a brother. Cioran pauses near a bridge he's crossed 1,000 times and hated each time for its arrogance of connecting one meaningless point to another meaningless point. Above him, the sky appears bruised, clouds swollen with unshed grief. He wonders, does the night mourn, or does it simply mirror the morning inside him? A thin breeze stirs the river, It moves with the indifference of time itself, dragging reflections into shapeless fragments. Cioran watches them break again and again, and in each fracture he sees the same truth: everything collapses. Even the idea of meaning. He rests his hands on the cold metal railing. The metal is honest, sharply, unapologetically cold. He admires that. There is no deceit in coldness. A distant siren cuts the air. A reminder that suffering is everywhere. A reminder that despair is a universal dialect, the only one that requires no translation. Cioran closes his eyes and listens to the quietest sound of all, his own breath wrestling with existence, and then the voice begins. Despair is not a storm. It is not violent. It does not arrive with thunder. No, despair is a slow erosion, a patient sculptor. It carves us from the inside, grain by grain, until what remains is the outline of a person who once believed in tomorrow. Most people fear tragedy, but tragedy is merciful. It is fast, it is decisive. What one should truly fear is the endless repetition of days that look the same, sound the same, bleed the same gray dust into the soul. We do not crumble because of one catastrophic moment. We crumble because of the thousand quiet ones. The ones no one ever notices. Human beings search for meaning the way the dying search for air. But meaning is a mirage, a shimmering promise that retreats each time we draw near, and yet we continue to walk. Not because we hope, but because stopping feels like another form of humiliation. The wind shifts. A few dead leaves skitter across the bridge, scratching the concrete like tiny desperate hands. Cioran opens his eyes. The world looks unchanged, and that is precisely the problem. He exhales slowly, as if each breath were an act of surrender. He whispers into the night, not a prayer, not a confession, but an admission. There is no salvation in clarity, only a deeper shade of darkness. He turns away from the river. The city swallows him again. Another ghost among millions. Another mind drowning in quiet catastrophes, and the night, patient and indifferent, closes behind him. There is a peculiar cruelty in the way Cioran speaks about the self, not as a sanctuary, not as a realm of potential, but as a trap, a beautifully engineered confinement designed by no one, maintained by everyone, and escaped by almost none. To him, the human mind is a master of sabotage. It builds hopes only to shatter them. It summons dreams only to watch them rot in their own glow, and it whispers promises that dissolve the moment we reach for them. Cioran believed that the greatest tragedies are not found in wars or nations or broken civilizations. They are found in the quiet corners of our inner world, in the sleepless hours when every thought becomes an echo of doubt and every doubt becomes a verdict. The world may wound us, but the self finishes the job, and yet there is a strange, almost tender honesty in this philosophy. For Cioran never asked us to rise above our weaknesses. He simply asked us to recognize them, to stare directly at the fractures, to name each one, and in doing so, to rob them of their power. He once wrote that enlightenment is nothing more than the moment you realize you were never meant to be whole. That clarity, he said, is the closest thing to freedom. Imagine that. A freedom not built from triumph, but from surrender, not from winning against the darkness, but from understanding that the darkness was always part of you, and somehow in that acceptance you breathe easier. Not because life becomes lighter, but because you stop expecting it to be anything else. The night hangs over the world like a wound that refuses to close. The camera drifts through a narrow corridor, a place without origin, without end, where shadows fall like exhausted pilgrims. Every echo belongs to a thought that never found release. Every silhouette resembles a regret someone once hid from themselves. At the far end of the corridor, Cioran stands still, not as a philosopher, not as a prophet, but as a man mutilated by clarity. His face carries the quiet gravity of someone who has seen too much. His eyes, too exhausted lanterns, search the darkness not for truth, but for a reason to keep looking. The world around him trembles gently, like a fevered dream trying to escape its own skull consciousness. What a disastrous privilege. It sharpens every ache. It amplifies every doubt. It forces us to witness the slow decay of everything we once believed could save us. To be awake is to feel the weight of existence pressing against the spine of the soul, and yet what else are we supposed to become? Animals again, innocent machines of instinct, blessed by forgetfulness. No, we were expelled from that paradise the moment we learned to think. Every thought is an exile, every memory is a wound, every desire is a chain. He steps closer to the unseen listener, to us, as if confessing a crime he never committed but always carried. A faint draft sweeps through the corridor. Papers flutter. The light fractures. Time behaves like a tired animal, dragging itself forward with reluctance. Cioran touches the wall, feeling its coldness. Its indifference, the kind of silence only reality can maintain without effort. We suffer because we understand too well. We understand the futility of our ambitions. We understand the brevity of our triumphs. We understand the tragic comedy of being alive and dying despite all our efforts to pretend otherwise. Consciousness is a storm with no shore, a labyrinth with no center, a question with no intention of being answered, and yet it is also the only thing that makes our despair meaningful. Without consciousness, there is no abyss. Without the abyss, there is no grandeur in enduring it. The corridor begins to dissolve into darkness, not violently, not suddenly, but slowly, like ink sinking into water. Cioran remains still, a silhouette suspended between annihilation and lucidity. He breathes softly, and the darkness breathes with him. The scene fades as if swallowed by its own philosophy. And so, the night closes around us, the same way it once closed around Cioran. He walked through life like a man carrying a lantern with no fire, searching not for meaning, but for the ruins where meaning once lived. He taught us something unsettling, something liberating, that despair is not an enemy but a mirror. A mirror we avoid, even though it reflects the only honest version of ourselves. Cioran whispered that existence is fragile, trembling, absurd, yet within that absurdity there is a strange form of freedom. A freedom to stop pretending, a freedom to stop performing, a freedom to stand alone in the silence and simply be. In his world, hope was a fever, certainty was a myth, and consciousness, that glowing, trembling flame, was both a blessing and a wound. But perhaps, in listening to his voice, in following his footsteps through the labyrinth of his doubts, we come to realize something he never said, but always implied, that even in darkness, even in disillusionment, even in the long corridors of sleepless nights, the act of searching is itself a form of light. You don't need to agree with him. You don't need to become him. But if Cioran has taught us anything, it is this: the human soul is deeper than its suffering, and every thought, even the darkest one, is proof that we are still alive. Thank you for walking through this abyss with me. If this journey moved you, stay with us. There are more minds, more shadows, and more truths waiting to be unveiled until our next descent. This is Farden. See you in the next void.